Alright, we should be back, I hope. And hopefully you guys can see a Spitfire cockpit on screen, otherwise I'm in trouble. I actually had to relaunch OBS twice to get it to hook this time. So I'm going to fly this mission. This is just a quick intercept. And hopefully by the time I'm done this mission, it will stay hooked. Sometimes when you complete a flight and start a new one, it loses it. So here we go. If all you can see right now is like a mission briefing screen or a map or something, please let me know.
Spread out.
Spitfire, I think. Looks like oh shit. There was a 109 here. I don't know where he's gone. He's probably gone into another cloud bank. You guys can see the actual cockpit, right? Not just a map? Please do let me know. We descended into a cloud bank to get away from a 109 and have found ourselves very much alone. No idea where that raid went, or the escorts. So, remember how I was saying you can see into the tail structure in this, unlike DCS? There you go. In fact, if I open the canopy, look at that! There's something behind me. Is that a Spit or a 109? Probably a Spit. Probably one of my wingmen. Now, I deeply suspect I've tumbled my gyro. In fact, I have. So asking for a bearing isn't going to help me here. Oh, there's something enemy over there. Might be a bomber trying to limp home. That's exactly what it is. Still can't see the main raid or any of the fighters. It's just me and my wingman here. And the lone Junkers 88, who has been damaged and is heading back to France. Oof! Oof! That's a 109. I think he just sliced his buddy's wing off there. What the fuck?
The commander, much closer. Alert. I'm going back to base.
Infinitely harder to actually kill than DCS AI, just saying. Damage model is like light years ahead as well.
Alert. Leader. Here. We are forming up on you. Attention. Enemy. Sector. Edward. 5. Changing heading to. Head. 60.
Dover radar station right there. Well, chain home station. Dover Castle, he's just flying over now. Try not to damage an English heritage site by shooting him down directly over it. Get some more power on. Tail is good.
The commander. You must stop with me.
Struggling to catch him, he's really motoring out of here. So I'm going to go back to combat power. A little risky for the engine, but I want to catch this guy. Here comes the rest of my flight, so at least I got support now. Hang on, is that a... That looks like a 109. Could be a Hurricane though. They do look similar from that angle. Running the engine a bit more, and I can't sustain this much longer.
Attention. Enemy group. Approximately 9 aircraft.
There's a large formation in front of me. That might be the bombers returning.
That's a snitch.
Oh, it's not the bombers.
Attention. Enemy group.
Come back off the power a bit so I don't toast the engine.
5.
He's running for his buddies. That could be awkward.
120.
They'll be returning to France since they are probably nearly out of fuel. We still got plenty left. Bottom tank's full, the top tank's empty though. Wingmen are still behind me, they're trailing a bit.
Much closer. We hardly see.
Not sure where the bombers have got to. They might still be on the way to their target, or they might have turned for home as well. But these are definitely 109s.
Attention. Enemy group. Sector. Edward. 5. Changing heading 2. Heading 90.
Wow, okay, he's missing some pieces. Took him a while to react as well. Not sure how my ammo is going. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Good hit on him. Just winged him. Looks like his engine's gone. That's my tail. Oh shit, not good. That's a spit there behind me. One of my wingmen trying to cover me. Engine's good. We still got some fuel left. We've got enough to return to the coastal bases once we chase these guys out of here. Try and force them to break formation again. It makes it easy to single one out. Well, we hit him. He's leaking something.
Commander, stay on course.
The AI isn't the greatest. Sometimes they don't react to being shot at like this. When they get near the ground, they tend to fly themselves into it. But at least when you are on the tail, they do more than just loop like they do in DCS. Which makes them more challenging to hit and a bit more worthwhile to fly against for training purposes. Goes his tail. That's the French coast. We're getting a bit uncomfortably close to occupied Europe here. Let's see if I can get one more before my guns run dry. Cooling systems hit. And we're empty. There's the White Cliffs over there. Come back off the power now. So as you can see, a lot of the sort of auxiliary systems and switches aren't clickable, but the main things are. So it's kind of like a half step between the newer IL-2 games and DCS.
Attention, enemy group sector ready for changing heading to heading 106.
While I'm flying back, we'll take a look. We'll pause here and we'll take a look at some of the other aircraft. Just see if I can show off the damage model a little. So these are the friendly Hurricanes that were flying with us. Looks like this one's taken a couple hits. It's hard to zoom in because of the way that the third-person views in this work. You can see a couple bullet holes around his engine cowling. I'm not sure if they actually render exactly where the damage occurs or just close enough to seem like it's exactly where it occurs. But the damage model in this is really, really detailed. Far beyond anything in DCS, like way beyond it. More Hurricanes. Looks like this one here is leaking something. He's been hit somewhere. Yeah, you can see a bullet hole right there on top of the engine, which is about where his coolant tank would be. And then we got my own flight. Me. Let's see how the Germans fared. So that was a raid of Junkers 88s, supported by Bf-109s. I'd say probably most of the bombers made it through, because we got bounced by the 109s immediately. You can see he's got a hit there on his tail. Well, you might not be able to due to the stream quality, but I can assure you there was a bullet hole there. Most of the guys with heavy damage have probably already crashed. Don't know what this guy's doing. But instead of DCS, where you hit someone and an entire section of wing falls off, you can actually see pieces of the aircraft's skin flapping in the breeze in this. You can see daylight through the airframe if they've taken a lot of hits. This is someone I shot up. He's got holes all over his tail. This guy's got a hole on his wing. Just a single bullet hit by the looks of it. And we're back into the bombers. The damage models on this are detailed enough that undercarriage legs and flaps will drop if pressure goes out of the hydraulic or pneumatic systems, or the locks fail or something like that. So it's quite often you'll roll up behind someone and put a good burst into them and you'll just see a single undercarriage leg flop out, which I have not seen in any other flight sim. Certainly not DCS. You also occasionally see flaps drop under gravity, and then the airflow will buffet them back up. A really good example is the Wellington, because the Welly's geodesic structure makes it really easy to see the damage. If you put a good burst into a Wellington, you can see daylight through the plane. Like, a lot of daylight. It's pretty impressive.
Attention, enemy group sector ready for changing altitude 0 degrees.
I would love to stream this more often. It's a fun sim. It looks nice for its age. And honestly, it's better for World War II stuff than DCS is in a lot of ways, but because it is such a pain to set it up to stream properly, I generally don't. And I'm hoping that the new IL-2 games will alleviate that. I've heard that they have some of the same issues with OBS, but I'm hoping that's just either it's been patched out or it's just, someone that didn't have their setup done properly. Still got plenty of fuel. I'm just going to find the nearest airfield and land on it.
This is the commander. Sending information.
There's Dover over there.
Attention. Enemy group in sector 34. Changing heading to
Someone's gone down right there. Don't know who.
106.
Might go for Hawkinge, which is a bit down the coast this way. Engine temps are good, still got enough fuel. RPMs look good. Bring the boost back a little.
Commander. Stay in formation.
I think I spy an airfield. I do spy an airfield. There's a bit of pop in there with the buildings. This is an oldish game. It's about 8 years old now. No idea which direction the wind's coming from, so we're just going to take a wild guess. Whoops-a-daisy. And here we go. Let's see if they fly themselves into anything. They usually do. No, they didn't crash themselves this time. It's the Christmas miracle. Usually they do. Oh, look at this. We can actually lean out of the cockpit so we can see where we're going. Eat your heart out, DCS. I just realised I forgot to change which game I'm playing on the bot. And unfortunately now I can't, because if I tab out it's going to mess up the OBS hook. So please don't murder me, Twitch, but we're not playing DZS. Hey KG5, thanks for the follow. And welcome to the stream. Hopefully you can actually see my plane, I don't know. The game I'm playing right now, it's very hard to stream. OBS doesn't play nice with it. I wonder if the hangars have collision models. I guess we'll find out together. Let's see if I can park in one. Excellent. That's what I like to hear. For reasons known only to Eastern European software developers, this game runs in about 3 different windows and OBS always hooks the wrong one. I have to launch the game, then I have to launch into a flight, then I have to pause the flight, tab out, start OBS, quickly tab back in before OBS actually launches, and then tab back out and start the stream. And if I don't do it in that specific order and with the right timings, it doesn't actually hook the game, it hooks the menu. Right, so there we go. Go ahead and switch those off, fuel off. The mixture's already leaned out, which is interesting. Yeah, it's slightly annoying. It's why I don't stream this game very often. I would love to stream it more, but it's just such a nightmare to get it to work. So with that mission done, we'll see if it unhooks itself before I start the next one, or if it actually continues to work. So we got 4 109s that mission. I got a very partial share in a single bomber, but I got 4 109s myself, somehow. Oh no, that's right, I think I got 3 at the end. And then 2 that were damaged. And we lost a lot of friendlies. I think most of them were probably in combat though, as opposed to the AI crashing into the ground, which they usually do. So now, what I might do is I might go at this from the other side. I'll do the same mission, but instead of being in the Spitfire, I'll be in the BF-109, which I'm very bad at flying, so don't expect much. You love planes, you've come to the right place then. I have been crazy about flying ever since I can remember, and actually, the first games I ever started playing on PC were flight sims. Combat Flight Simulator 2 was the first flight sim I ever got. My uncle gave it to me with an old joystick, and I played that for so long. I nearly had to repeat a year in primary school because I spent so much time playing flight sims, which my parents were not impressed about, but, you know, that probably should have been a sign of what was to come, I think. Can you still see the plane? Hopefully, yes. Excellent. Okay. Now we got to figure out where the Spitfires are. Right there. Mix of Spitfires and Hurricanes. Lucky. a hit on him there. Whoa! Get some speed up and close the distance again. Where's he gone? He vanished into the clouds. And now I'm scared because I can't see him. I don't know where he went. We're going to go back up. I don't want to be down there. That is not a good place for me. Oh, game froze for a second there. There's a bunch of guys over there. October I do radio communications for an air show. Nice! When I used to live in England, I used to go to a lot of air shows. Unfortunately, since we moved to Australia, I haven't been able to go to very many. The local airport where I usually fly from does hold an air show every year or two, which is quite good. But other than that, there's not a lot here, sadly. A lot of the really big air shows in Australia are quite far away from me, so I can't really travel to them. That looks like a Spitfire. Pretty sure it is a Spitfire. Now, I'm not entirely sure how the BF-109 E3's engine management works. I know that this blue knob in front of me is the propeller pitch, but I don't know if it's a constant speed propeller or if it's like a fixed pitch, or not a fixed pitch, a two-pitch one. I have a suspicion it's the latter, which makes it a lot more complicated for me to fly this. So I may blow my engine up here. Is that friendly? I think I see yellow. Might be my wingman. Getting a lot of power out of the engine, so we're going to try this, maybe. Okay, maybe not. Maybe that's not a good idea. Yep, that's my wingman. That looks like a Spit, maybe a Hurricane. Two of them, right. Almost got to ride in a biplane. I don't think I've ever been in a biplane. At the air show here, they have a pit special display team come and put on a real good show. It's really amazing seeing what those little things can do. Okay, so this bottom right gauge is my propeller pitch, I think. Luftschraube, I'm pretty sure that's what that is. They have a gauge to show you your propeller pitch, but you don't have an artificial horizon. German engineering. I've lost those Spitfires. How's my fuel? Good enough. I'm definitely not very good with the 109. Hopefully, Junkers made it to their target safely. I have no idea. I haven't seen them, like, not even once. Why did they not put an artificial horizon in this thing? Why? Oh, hello, what are you? Are you friendly? Maybe. I think probably my wingmen are going to start returning home soon. Because you don't need it. You don't need it! In what universe do you not need an artificial horizon? The moment I fly into a cloud in this thing, I have no idea where I am. I don't know, maybe the German instrumentation makes more sense to someone who's used to it, but I can't stand it. I hate the cockpit in this thing. The Friedrich has a better cockpit, but I still prefer the Spitfire. Universally, the Spitfire has a better cockpit. It's just so much better. 300 plus kills, yeah, but they never rotated them off the front line, that's why. I can't tell what they are from here. What are you? You're a Spitfire. I don't know if I'm going to catch him though. I don't appear to be going very fast. I don't know if it's because I got the prop pitch set wrong or what. We back in IL2? Yeah, DCS was pissing me off. I'd say these guys are trying to return home. I've got just enough fuel I might be able to shoot one or two down before I have to run. Looks like the front guys have woken up. No, it doesn't. See what I mean? The 109F has a decent amount of instrumentation, but these 109Es, nothing. He doesn't know, chat. Don't tell him. Oh, now he knows. I think every single one of those rounds went straight over the top of him. Hey, we got him there. Uh-oh, no, we're going up. Don't want to go in front of him. I think he's... Yep, he's toast. May have killed the pilot, not sure. That looks suspiciously like a pair of Spitfires turning in on me. Probably because it is. Uh-oh. This may have been a mistake. Because I need to head back to France very soon. I do not have much fuel. I'll see. See, these guys want to go home too. I'll see if I can sneak up and get one of them. Like I said, the AI is kind of spotty. It's hard to get hits on when they're actually maneuvering, but when they go into their return to base mode, it's very hard to get them to actually react to being shot at. Oh, Jesus, there's one right there. See, they're not reacting because they're on their I'm going to return to base mode. Now they are. Now they wake up. Uh-oh. No, that wasn't good. Yeah, we're gonna yeet out of here very quickly. Yeah, that's AI. I don't know if anyone still plays this on multiplayer. The server browser doesn't actually show any servers. I suspect it must have been a GameSpy browser, and they just haven't updated it since GameSpy went down. I know that some of the guys that play DCS, like Phil Style, I know he used to play this a lot on multiplayer, but I don't know if he still does. I should ask him next time I see him. I actually supposedly still have half my fuel left. Supposedly. But we're just gonna run. Because that was a bit of a rude awakening there. Don't need this anymore. I love how there's no actual on-off switch like the Spitfire and Hurricane. You have to actually spam click the dimmer on it. Okay, so let's have a quick cockpit overview, and I'll try not to fly myself into the channel. This is our magneto switches here. That is the starter, I assume. Altitude, airspeed, compass, your little turn bank indicator, you got a clock. This is your engine manifold pressure, which would be called boost in the British aircraft. This is your revolutions per minute, which are actually kind of low in this thing. The German engines seem to run at much lower revs for combat power than the Merlin does. That is, yeah, prop pitch, landing gear indicator, water temperature, oil temperature, fuel. Don't know what that does. This is your gun oh, so that's where the ammo counter is. The later 109s moved it up here. But that's my ammo counter, so my cannons are empty. Cannons are empty, machine guns still have ammo. That is your that's your undercarriage lever? Jesus Christ. Emergency system. So they're right next to each other. That seems like a great idea. You might grab the wrong one by accident. Big red button left of the magnetos is the kill switch. Oh, okay. So interesting. Is that the starter then, maybe? Hang on, what does that say? Don't know. Maximum speed with full flaps, 250 kilometers an hour. I can't read the rest because it's scuffed to hell and back. I think that's my flaps? No. That's my trim. Where's the flaps in this? I think it is a wheel in the 109. Maybe I'm looking the wrong side. It's a radiator. Hand pump, I guess that's for the gear. Where are the flaps? Don't know. Oh no, that is the flaps. Okay, that's the outside wheel is the flaps. The inside one is the pitch trim. Still have fuel. Career mode? No, I'm just doing like quick missions at the moment. I might do some proper single missions though. I just wanted to make sure that OBS was actually working properly before I got too stuck into anything. Don't remember where's the starter on the email? Yeah, no, I don't know either.
Das ist der Staffelführer. Bleiben Sie im Kurs.
Here's what I don't get, right? I mean, it's kind of bad in this, but it's not as bad because you don't have the armored panel behind you. But in some of the 109s, like I think the Friedrich especially, there was a great big armored steel headrest behind the seat, right? So you couldn't see backwards. It took the Brits about a week after the Spitfire entered service to steal the wing mirror off the CO's car and bolt it to the top of the Spitfire. Why in the entire war did the Germans never think to actually use rear vision mirrors? I don't understand. Especially in the variants where rearwards visibility was a serious problem. This one, like I said, it's not awful, it's not great. I just never understood that. I thought, like, I would think that would be the most natural first thing you would think of is, there's a mirror, there's the plane, let's just attach it to the plane. It was a pretty quick process too for the RAF. Like almost as soon as pilots started doing it on their own initiative, it was adopted as an official modification at the factory. And so it became very quickly rarer to see a Spitfire or a Hurricane without a rear vision mirror than one with it. Now I've got to find an airfield somewhere. Oh! Speak of the devil! I think that's one. It's about the right size. But I'll look for an actual proper one with runways, I think. There we go, right there. Oh, I know where I am. This is where I landed last time. Vibrations made it very hard to look at mirrors. It probably wasn't that effective. Interesting. I wonder if that was like a universal thing and the Brits just dealt with it, or if it was just a 109 thing, because the British definitely seemed to pick up on the idea and run with it. The Americans did too with the P-51. Hey Bavarian, thanks for the follow. I should note, I don't fly 109s very often. I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to landing. I do want to get rid of some speed before I drop the flaps and gear though, so we'll circle round to the right. I'm much more knowledgeable about the British aircraft than the German ones, particularly the Spitfire. For anyone who's inclined to pick up books about the subject, Spitfire by Alfred Price is one of my most treasured possessions. That book is fantastic. Covers literally everything you could ever want to know about the Spitfire. Oh, now I know why the gear didn't drop last time. I have to actually... Oh my god. No. Why? No. Watch me stall while I'm trying to do this. How many pumps is this supposed to take? I feel like the gear should be down by now. I feel like it should really be down by now. Okay, well, this is going to be really awkward. We might have to do this wheels up because I don't know how German planes work. Oh, that's a good thought, actually. See, I did take some hits. It may have punched through the hydraulics. I'm not sure. Well, if this even has them. I could F2, but that's cheating. I guess my wingman would tell me, so let's F2. No, they are not down. They have not even started coming out of the wells. I got sprayed head-on by a spit. There's a couple... It's hard to get the angle. There we go. You can see where he hit me. There's bullet holes all along my tail. That was from a head-on pass, by the way. So I'm lucky he didn't kill me outright. You sure the thing has an engine pump? Why isn't that engaged? It should be. I pulled the landing gear lever. Like, it should have done the thing. Unless there's some other step to this which I'm not aware of. Oh! Okay, so I guess I have to press the gear lever twice in the 109? Yeah, I do. That makes sense. Thank you, German engineering. And I can't put that back in. Well, it doesn't matter anyway. Who cares? As long as the wheels are down. There's the runway behind. Please don't get that close, too. That is disturbing. There we go. Right wheel's down. Left wheel's down. Oh, thank God. We got there in the end. I'm a simple man. I like to actually only need to move one lever to have my gear drop. I did press G. It should have... I think... I don't know. And now I've lost sight of the runway because I'm too low. Put some power on. I think that's it there. I'm not going to drop the flaps until I'm closer. Yeah, that's the runway there. Why did I pick the short runway? Oh no. Oh no. No. The AI is freaking out because they don't understand the concept of returning to base. Oh, there we go, the first one killed himself. For whatever reason, I can't order them to land, and they won't do it themselves. And with the gear down, by the way, this thing handles like absolute hot garbage. Oh no. Okay, well... I guess we're landing in a field here, because the plane doesn't want to respond to controlling... Oh, yeah, no, because the flaps are still there. Jesus Christ. Ouch. That's a tree. That's two trees. Oh. Ooh. We're just gonna get rid of this, because I have a feeling we're gonna want to leave in a hurry. Oh my god, I can't even... Please. Willy Mischer-Smith, what were you doing? Why would you do any of this? I can't press that button, unfortunately. It's not clickable. It's one of the few things that isn't. So my canopy jettison's not even working, which is just brilliant. Maybe that stops working when you... I don't know. I don't know. Can I... Wow, okay, so clicking the magneto switch doesn't actually move it, which is interesting. And I can't open... So my canopy's jammed. I wonder if that's from battle damage. But, I mean, we're on the ground. The plane didn't catch fire or explode. It's probably never going to fly again, but... Small price to pay. So yeah, as you can see, I was not made to fly the BF-109. Did I get a kill? Yeah, I knocked down 2 Spitfires. Well, I got 1 and got a half share, which by German standards is about 4 kills. No, it'd be counted as 2. The Germans didn't award half shares per pilot. They awarded a full kill to every pilot involved. Whereas the British, if you had a half share, you had a half share. If you didn't get a half share, you were lucky to get your name on the kill at all. Both sides overclaimed a lot, but the German system led to quite a few more overclaims. Right, let's see if we can do a full single mission here. I don't know if these are air starts or if these are ground starts, to be fair. Stuka intercept, chain home. Flying a Hurricane. Okay. Manston, flying a Hurricane. Let's do this. I think this is as the RAF. Okay, I'll catch up on chat now that I'm safely on the ground. Safely being a very generous word. Also wasn't very good for the plane performances, about a couple mile per hour. Yeah, no, I know that. I think for the RAF, though, they just didn't care about the speed trade-off, especially in the early Spits, because it was slightly faster than 109 at some altitudes, slower at others. Like, the early 109 and the early Spit were very well matched. The real impressive thing, and this is something I learned about the Spitfire relatively recently, is that just from angling the exhaust pipes backwards instead of out to the sides, they gained 10 miles an hour just from the sheer force of the exhaust gas being ejected out of the Merlin at full power. Which is kind of sort of not really a very, very early kind of jet propulsion, I guess you could say. You're wondering if something was a 109 thing when I came in? What were you talking about? I honestly can't remember. Oh, maybe the mirrors. Yeah, might have been the mirrors. I don't know. I can assure you I'm much better at flying the Spitfire than the 109. And I'm decent-ish in the Hurricane. Not as good as I am in the Spit. There we go. Yeah, we'll roll with this. Not sure if it's an air start or a ground start. We'll find out. Oh, it's an air start. Okay, well then. And it's very dark in here for some reason. Oh, probably because the tail's shadowing the entire cockpit. The Romney Marshes down there, off the right wing. Oh, we're up in the contrails now. It's down there. off the front of the right wing is, I'm sorry, left wing, jeez, is Margate. Sandwich off the left wingtip. Deal Dover is that little inlet just over there. And where are my friends? They're somewhere in the sun where I can't see them. Excellent. Oh, there they are. That's why my Spitfire has a round rear view mirror. Hey, hey! Oh, oh, uh-oh, uh-oh! Now, the real question, are there 109s? Probably. Try and get a quick shot in at the bombers before they turn up.
Attention, enemy group. Approximately aircraft, sector, on, north on. Junkers in place. Heading 410.
Tail looks okay for now. Go around. I heard Misha Smith. I just heard Misha Smith. This is not good. Now, unfortunately, the rearview mirrors don't actually work in this game, which is really irritating because I do rely on them quite heavily, especially in the Hurricane. Can't see shit behind me. Yeah, this isn't DCS, this is Cliffs of Dover. Sorry, I couldn't change the game over because getting OBS to hook this is a nightmare. And in the time it takes me to tab out and change from DCS to Cliffs of Dover, it will fail to hook the game and I'll have to restart the stream to get it to work. So we're just going to hope that Twitch don't come and slam dunk me for streaming in the wrong category. Why are they diving? Oh, I guess they're Ilka's 88s, they're probably dive bombing. We'll go for these ones. Yeah, I know, right? That's the guy I think I hit this guy earlier. Maybe. Oop. Don't want to hit him. He's a straggler. Those guys are heading back towards France. There's a couple stragglers over there. I'll stick with these guys because it looks like a few of my mates are dealing with the others. Wow. Terrible shooting on my part. There we go. He's burning.
Altitude,
Alright, to be fair to DCS, after I badmouthed it for not having luminous paint on the Spitfire's gauges earlier, nor does this. Gary Powers U2 was shot down. How many Soviet interceptors also went down? I think one was shot down by a pair of SA-2s or something like that. I'm pretty sure it was just one Soviet interceptor, but I could be wrong. They fired a lot of SA-2s at him. And the interceptor in question was, I think, an Su-9 that was on delivery from the factory, and so it was unarmed, and he was going to ram him. But he couldn't quite catch up. Smoking, that's oil coming out of his engine. He hasn't dropped his bombs yet. Okay, we are out of ammo. Now, I just want to quickly show you guys the damage modeling in this, so I'm going to quickly pause, and let's go to external. There's a 109. I'll try and find one of the guys I was just shooting at. So, in that 109 flight, you may have noticed the bullet holes stitched along my tail, where I'd actually been hit. This guy's missing some control surfaces there. It's best to show it off with the Wellington, because the Welly structure really lends itself to demonstrating the damage model. But you can see it's really localized. Only the bottom of his rudder is torn up, because that's the only place he was hit on his rudder. It's possible to knock out the hydraulics and have landing gear legs just flop out of their undercarriage housings. It's possible to have flaps come down from gravity and then be buffeted back up by the wind. So it's really impressive. It is leaps and bounds ahead of what DCS has achieved, and this is a considerably older game. Oh look, there's another one. Too bad I'm out of ammo.
Attention, enemy group, sector, 414.
MiG-19? I thought it was an Su-9. Maybe it was... I don't know. I know there's an Su-9 involved somewhere. I will say the terrain in this game for its age is really impressive, but it's also really weird. About half of London's major landmarks are missing, and half of them are there. So you can buzz Nelson's column, and the fountains next to it are there. Houses of Parliament and Big Ben are there. Tower Bridge is there. The Tower of London is there. Battersea Power Station is not, and nor is St Paul's. Why St Paul's isn't there, I don't know, but it's not.
Altitude, 32.5.
IFF codes were wrong, so it was May 1st. Oof. Ouch and owie. Go land at Manston. Which is that airfield in my 10 o'clock. For those of you that play War Thunder, this area might look very familiar. A position about halfway between Manston and Ramsgate is used as a single cap air dom point for one of the arcade battle maps. See, I have no, unless I mission's grayed out. I can't select that. I assume that's where the command to tell them to land is, but I can't use it for whatever reason. So we're just going to have to hope the AI can figure it out themselves, but I'm going to go land here. And I'm going to try another mission. It is kind of hard to demonstrate what I mean about the detail on the damage models while I'm playing, but in my Discord I actually posted some videos I found of, one of them in particular is a Wellington with the flaps hanging down by gravity and being buffeted up by the wind, because he'd had his hydraulic or pneumatic lines shot out. That sun is an absolute killer. I'm going to land the other way so I'm not into the sun. While I'm at it. This isn't going to help much, but it's better than nothing. Oh, no, we're landing into the sun, I guess. Oh well. Here goes! Prepare your ears, this is going to be loud. You can see the bomb craters from where they were attacking the airfield. Thankfully, it looks like they missed anything important. Oh, that sun. It's brutal. Bit bumpy. I mean, to be fair to them, they were probably shit scared because they were being swarmed by hurricanes. And German bomber crews during the Battle of Britain had a habit of just ditching their bombs and running the moment they were intercepted. Especially later on in the battle, if they saw British fighters, they'd just jettison their bombs and run. Uh-oh. Please don't hit me. Now, interestingly enough, you'll see the aircraft is still moving. I have the brakes on. It's still moving. They actually seem to weathercock quite badly into the wind, even on the ground. I don't know if it's the friction set wrong on the wheels, or if this is actually a realistic amount of movement on the ground for one of these aircraft. I mean, I know in a strong wind, an aircraft that's not tied down will start weathercocking and even try and take off, but this seems a little overkill to me. Okay, we've stopped moving now. We must be... Oh, no, we haven't. We'll get there in the end. Okay. Oh. The slow running cutout on this is actually clickable, unlike the Spitfire. So yeah, there we go. That is the Hurricane. As our wingmen come into land. See, on the single-player missions, they do seem to be scripted properly. They will actually land, usually. Whereas the quick action ones, they don't. And I've read quite a few questions on the Steam forums and so on asking about this because people have played different campaigns and their wingmen have all just killed themselves. So the AI in this game is extremely kind of hit and miss. They're very good when something's on their tail. They're not so great when they're trying to land, or when they're returning to base and somebody gets into their formation. Oh, there we go. There's another member of the squadron coming in for a landing. There we go. Let's see how we fared. We shot down a single JU-88, which is probably that one I set on fire. Not a great hit percentage. My shooting wasn't very good there. Better than DCS AI in some respects, way worse in others? Yeah, very much. Although, I've got to say, from what I've seen of the DCS AI trying to land, which I don't see often, they're pretty dumb as well. Ah, so I get to fly a Junkers 88 in this. I have no idea how to fly one of those, so I won't do this one yet. I might do that offline and get a feel for the aircraft sometime. Bomber and ships. Intercept ships in a Spitfire 1A. Ooh, yes, let's do this one. Let's see. I think we're just in a normal 1A, not the 100 octane. Unfortunately. The 100 octane fuel does provide a substantial boost to the Spitfire's performance. Ah, okay. So you can put in the tail number for the British aircraft, because they use letter codes, you can put in either the number of the letter in the alphabet or the name of the actual letter itself, apparently. So let's go. There we go. We can do that. Or we can do... Yeah. There we go. Paint scheme. Oh, and we can change the paint scheme. Oh boy. There we go. So this one-wing black thing was an identification measure that the RAF dropped very soon into the Battle of Britain. Because obviously it kind of ruins the whole camouflage thing. DCS could do with a player bomber, I agree, in terms of something like... I guess for the World War II stuff it could certainly use some. I could see that being fun. I did enjoy crewing bombers in Rise of Flight. You know, it's kind of like a road trip with your friends almost. As far as the jets go, though, I want an F-111, I want an Su-24, and I want a Blackburn Buccaneer. And man, well, I guess that's more of a strike aircraft than a bomber. But what I would really love, but is never, ever, ever going to happen, is an Avro Vulcan. That would be just, oh, amazing. Let's actually just go with the default skin. Oh, yikes. Okay, hang on. No, we'll go with standard 39A, I think. So A and B are the two different camouflage patterns, which is basically, it's just mirrored from one wing to the other. As you can see. Yeah, see, having friends as escorts and manning a gun position, that kind of thing, or being one of the escorts and being stationed on board a larger ship and then flying off of it, is what kind of sold me on the idea of big space sims. Now, unfortunately, the sims in question have had protracted development and, you know, may have lost sight of what they were originally aiming to be, but that was the big draw for me for things like Star Citizen, was I wanted to be in a friend's big ship, just chilling out and having a jolly old time, and then, oh shit, there's enemies around, jump into a fighter and go off and intercept them. Like, that seems fun to me. I like that kind of thing. What I really want is 70s era electronics, but in space. So for the single ships, it's like flying the DCS MiG-21 or the Tomcat, And then for the larger ships, like the destroyers and carriers and things, it's like playing Silent Hunter, but in space. That would be fucking amazing. I want that game so bad. Vaporware of the decade. More than the decade, my dude. Yeah, let's roll with this setup. Oh, we're quite low this time. Oops, 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 oops. Set my trim. Gun sight on. There we go. Okay, these bombers are somewhere off our nose. By the way, another thing this has over DCS, look at this, no baked-on reflections that make it hard to see what's going on. Isn't that amazing? Take note, ED. I am kind of relying on my wingmen here to tell me when we come across the enemy, because my spotting isn't the best. With that said, spotting aircraft in this is so much better than DCS. The specs render further out, they're clearer to see, and even if the spec is too far out to see, there they are right there, you occasionally catch a flash of light off the canopy glass, which DCS really needs. Thought the cockpits were not clicky in IL-2. Not in the new ones, this is Cliffs of Dover. This is kind of like halfway to being full fidelity, cockpit-wise. You can click some things, but not everything.
One by one.
Not enough lead. Go up and over. You can see the glinting of light off their canopies there. That really helps you spot them from far away, but it isn't just a random flash thing, it is actually based if they're flying towards the sun. Which they kind of are here. Oh, you guys are too adorable. Too much rudder. The Hurricane is a much better gun platform than the Spitfire. The Spitfire is a little too finicky. She handles pretty well, but just doesn't have the stability for a gun platform that the Hurricane does. And the guns are more spaced out on the Spitfire. You have one inboard, two in the middle, and then one outboard on each wing, whereas the Hurricane, it's just a solid block of 4 guns quite close inboard on the wing. We'll go for the right-hand man here, I think. Try and get focused less by the other aircraft in the formation. He's been hit, he's leaking oil. Now the unfortunate thing is there's a lot of very important stuff at the front of the Spitfire. Your main coolant reservoir is immediately behind the prop spinner at the front, on top of the engine block. Your oil sump is underneath the engine at the front. And the constant speed unit, which regulates the prop pitch, is also very easy to hit from the front. Looks like some of them are starting to run for home. One of our Spits has lost his engine and his RTB. Oh god, please no. This guy's still got his bombs on. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Quick damage assessment. I'm not leaking anything that I can see. The engine seems to be running okay. I'm not losing fuel that I know of. That was a lot of hits, though. Oh, my gun sight is getting very dim though, which is interesting. Might have hit my electrics, possibly. Yeah, the exhaust flames are a little exaggerated in this. At night time, that's what it looks like, but in the day they shouldn't be quite so visible. Yeah, it looks like they're going home. Let's see if I can pick off the straggler here. Yeah, DCS doesn't really seem to do it. I think it does on startup for the Spitfire, but not in flight. IL-2, the new ones, they have really good exhaust flames. You can actually see the firing sequence of the pistons. Oh, jeez. She didn't like that. I think that's because I nosed over a bit hard. Okay. We are out of ammo, I guess.
Much closer.
I'm not sure what that clicking was, but it didn't sound very good. Yeah, our guns are either empty or dead, and I can't quite tell which. So I'm going to come back off the power. Back to about cruising power, 2650 RPM. About 0 pounds of boost. I'm not sure where my home base was, I can't remember. So we'll just land it wherever we can get in, basically. So, remember how I was saying earlier how in DCS, the Spitfire, you have that just, like, solid black thing behind the seat so you can't see into the tail structure? Look at this. Hang on, let me open the canopy first. Look at that. See, all the way back there to the suspension for the tail wheel. And the cable runs all the way back.
Attention, enemy cruise sector, Charlie, 4, heading into, head 180.
Bit of nose up trim there, I think. That was a little scary. She's much easier to trim in this than in DCS, I'll say that much. Much, much easier. There we go. We are trimmed to fly hands off. Almost. There's a slight roll, but there's nothing I can do about that, really. Bit of right rudder trim might help it, but not a lot. Yeah, still got some roll there, but not too much. In real life, you'd be able to fly hands off. You just use your leg to kind of skew the stick over to counteract that roll tendency.
Commander, much closer. It's hard to see.
See, this is how you lay out a cockpit. This is beautiful. The British were geniuses with this. The RAF, every aircraft that served in the RAF, could have been a transport, a bomber, a trainer, a fighter, it didn't matter. Anything the British aviation industry produced during World War II had this layout. You've got the standard blind flying panel, literally the same gauges in the same positions. This panel is smack bang in front of the pilot. You've got your engine gauges and fuel all grouped together on the right side. You've got your auxiliary systems like your oxygen, your clock, your brake pressure, your trim gauges all grouped together on the left side. Simple. Nice and simple. Any British aircraft you jump into, you can immediately find everything. And this is the same thing the Soviets did after World War II. This is why I like the Soviet cockpits in DCS. From a MiG-19 to a MiG-21 to a MiG-23 to a MiG-29, there are not many differences in the placement of gauges and switches in the cockpit. There's a castle there. Or a cathedral, sorry. It's a cathedral. I'm not entirely sure where we are. I could probably figure it out in a minute, but I think we're on the south coast somewhere. We'll head east, because I know the eastern airfield's better.
Much closer. It's hard to see.
Flying the Spitfire is a lot closer to glider flying I've done in real life. Yeah, well, the Spitfire has a lot of lift with these beautiful wings. What a beautiful sight. It's a golf course. Right there. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. It looks like a golf course. All the sand bunkers and everything. Golf course here in Bathurst is on the other side of town from the, there's another one, from the other side of town from the airport, so I don't think I really saw that from the air. I've flown out to Orange once, but I was paying more attention to my navigation than what was going on under me. Well, you say that, but this game was a bit of a clusterfuck on release. There was some dramas with the development and the publisher. And to be honest, it was pretty much a flop when it came out. It was broken, it didn't run well. A lot of things that people had been anticipating weren't completed yet. And it wasn't until a couple of years later, after the game's development had been handed off to a mod team, Team Fusion, that it really reached this form. And yeah, it's a great sim now. It still has its issues. The menus are kind of crap. Like the UI is really, really bad. And you know, the AI isn't the greatest, but the flying is really good. The damage model is incredible. The visuals and the sound are brilliant. Don't forget the broken copy protection, yeah, that too. It was really a mess on release, which was a shame because a lot of people had been anticipating it, me included. But I'm just glad that after all this time, it's turned into a really good sim. I just wish it was easier to stream. I really miss living in the UK. I want to get back to Europe sooner rather than later, I just don't have the money. I haven't been back to Europe since we left in 1997. I've been back to Canada plenty of times, like, we fly out to Canada to visit the family every couple of years, just about. But, man, I miss it. Mine went out for an adventure. My parents were getting really worried about him, but he came back just the other day. He'd been gone for 3 weeks. Like, it's not so much they're worried that, you know, he can't look after himself. He can definitely look after himself. He comes back more well-fed than when he leaves. But, it's more that because they live out in the bush, there's a more than zero chance that if someone's out hunting and sees him, they'll shoot him. Because feral cats are a big problem here, and so if he strays off the farm, he could be in hot water. It doesn't stop him, but... he's a pretty good cat. He makes it home. Like I said, better fed than he was when he leaves. And he's always desperate for attention when he gets back. Him and his sister are quite prone to wandering. One of their parents was the neighborhood stray, and the other one was a feral. We don't know which feral, just a feral. We didn't even realize she was pregnant until she disappeared, and while my parents were looking for something in the old shearing shed, which they were using for storage at the time, they could hear kittens underneath. Sea and cliffs look great. Yeah, I mean, considering, again, this is an 8-year-old game, it does look really, really good. So this, I think, let me just double check the map. I think this might be Shoreham. Or, actually, it might be Hastings. Bexhill and Hastings, maybe. We'll know soon enough because, no, okay. It's Shoreham. Because we haven't hit the Romney Marshes yet. So what do we got for airfields around here? Not a lot. Let's follow this further out. Oh, there's Wilmington. Put in there. Wait, hang on. Was that Shore? Because I don't remember seeing the Brighton Pier. Not this again. My navigation in this leaves a little to be desired. Okay, no. So I think that might be Eastbourne behind us. I think. Which would then make this up here Bexhill and Hastings. We'll know once we get a little closer there. If we can see a sandbar out in front of us, then we've hit the Romney Marshes, so... It's just... the coast here... oh, there's a radar station. Or a chain home station. I just can't remember which one was there. I think that's...
The commander.
Was there one at Bexhill? I think there was. We'll figure it out. Some landmarks are more obvious than others. So the Brighton Piers are obvious. The Brighton Piers. The Romney Marshes are really obvious when you hit them. And then Dover and Folkestone are pretty distinctive too. But this stretch of the coast is quite samey. How am I on fuel? Still good. Yeah, I hang a bit close. Well, we are in the RAF, and that is how the RAF flew early in the war. In extremely close formation. It's part of the reason they tended to copy pasting early on, is because the number 2 and 3 had been more concerned about flying close formation than they would looking out for Germans. The Germans, on the other hand, had picked up experience in Spain and flew a much looser formation in what is now known as a combat spread. So you have 4 aircraft in like a finger arrangement, spread out much further apart, and they can watch each other's tails and provide mutual protection, whereas here, that's not happening. There was kind of a halfway solution where the trailing aircraft in a formation would be tail end Charlie or arse end Arnold, depending who you ask, and they'd weave in and out of the formation looking for enemy, but it wasn't long before the more clued in RAF pilots just said balls to the doctrine, we'll do it our own way, and flew much looser formation like the Germans did. And then after a little while, the RAF establishment realised that was the way to do things and updated the doctrine. So an early war British squadron in a formation would be 4 Vics of 3, packed very closely together. Yeah, okay, so that big flat bit off the nose is the Romney Marsh.
The commander. Stay on course.
Which would put us just past Hastings. So that was Hastings back there. So we've got a little ways to go before we hit the next airfield, which will be Littlestone. From memory, Littlestone's kind of small. I might go for Lympne instead. I do prefer the longer runways if I can get them. Temperatures and pressures look good. Fuel's fine. Spitfire is nice and happy, which is how I like to keep it. Dimmer plates in this aren't the best, at least it's better than in DCS where it's totally opaque, but it doesn't filter out that much sunlight. But it does have one. Little lighthouse down there. Alright. So just over the other side of the marshes is where we want to be. We'll cut across here. From memory, I think that the Romney Marsh was used as a chemical weapons testing area during the war. Pretty sure it was. The Brits didn't fuck around. When they were worried the Germans would invade, they started mining the beaches. So crash landing on one of these beaches would not be a good idea. You'd end up in the middle of a minefield. Pretty sure the Romney Marsh is a chemical weapons testing area just because it's pretty much unpopulated and out towards the sea. Dover Castle had a pretty impressive network of underground tunnels built under it, which I've been to in real life. Somewhere we had, possibly still have, the old English Heritage booklet kicking around from when we visited. I used to love reading through it. It went all through the history of the castle back in the old days and during World War II, when it was the closest point to France. If I picked up a bit of altitude, you'd be able to see the French coast from here. The channel really isn't that wide, and it's all that protects the UK from invasion. It's done a pretty good job, considering they've only been successfully invaded once in a very, very long time, back in 1066, at least across the channel anyway. Probably part of the reason for that is that the weather is just atrocious. I mean, here in the middle of summer it's not too bad, but we did a couple of channel crossings on the ferry before we learned to just take the train, and it was not pleasant. It's not very far, but it really isn't a pleasant experience. The ferry crossing, at the speed the ferries move at, it's not very far. It's like 20 or 30 miles, I think, but it takes a good couple of hours, and an English Channel storm for a couple of hours, not pleasant. Okay, so this is Littlestone, I think. This is a satellite airfield. The RAF had a lot of these. They were flying clubs and empty paddocks that were turned into smaller aerodromes, and fighters were stationed at those to avoid getting knocked out at the major aerodromes. The Germans would bomb the shit out of the major aerodromes and not realise that they were doing very little to diminish fighter command's capacity to intercept them, other than, you know, knock out control centres and aircraft in servicing. Quite often the satellite airfields would have black paint across the grass strip to appear to be a hedgerow from above, so the Germans wouldn't even realise that there was a chance of landing an aircraft there because it looked like it was bisected by hedges. The Brits were quite clever with deception during the war, and that was one of the real kind of standout examples. How to make an airfield disappear. There's Limpney. I was a bit brutal on the throttle there, I probably shouldn't have done that. Unlike DCS, I can stick my head out. Yeah, it's a very rough journey. Very, very rough. The Channel Tunnel was a godsend. Just get off the runway here and park up.
Mason. Attention. Mason. Join the circuit.
Now we've got to figure out where the wind's coming from, because the aircraft's going to try and turn into it. Probably around here somewhere. No, she's still turning. I'm not doing anything, the aircraft's just weathercocking itself. Okay. Are you quite done yet? No? Right. Close enough. So that's a slow running cutoff, which is clickable on the Hurricane, but inexplicably not the Spitfire. we go. By the way, do you automatically get fuel and ammo when you land? Not that I'm aware of. By the way, watch this. So, here we go. Fully course. Fully fine.
Here. This is Chris Hour, landing cleared. Roger. You're clear to land.
DCS doesn't do that, does it? And from the external view, you can watch it move as well. Also, not only do the prop blades actually bend, or if they're wooden props, snap when they hit the ground, but it doesn't just automatically bend them all at once like, say, the older IL-2 series does. It bends the individual blade as it strikes the ground. Like, that is how detailed this game's damage model is. And you can see, I've got... Oh my lord. That's a pretty impressive group. That's a pretty impressively tight group for that bomber's gunner. I'm very lucky he didn't give me a oil leak, because that's right where the oil sump is, right under the nose there. That was probably why the engine was running rough. And then we got a single hit behind the cockpit, which is probably why my gun sight was playing up. That's right about where the electrics are. And I think that's about it for damage. So most of the damage was concentrated around the front of the aircraft. I think that was when you were really close to him. Yeah, it probably was. It's impressive accuracy, though. Can't really see if there's anything on the underside since I'm on the ground. Doesn't look like it. And as you can see, like DCS, when you do fire the guns, it blows out the canvas covers, which was a handy way of indicating to the ground crew that the guns had been fired and needed to be reloaded. If those canvas covers weren't blown, they knew not to touch the guns. Looks like I took a hit on top of the engine too. Just on top of the cowling. So yeah, there we go. On the ground, safe and sound. We shot down 3 JU-88s. One of them was 100% my damage, the other 2 were mostly my damage. My accuracy wasn't great. Usually I tend to get around 30%, 35%, somewhere in that range, when I'm flying well. We got 1 damaged who made it home, and we lost 2 Spitfires, presumably to enemy fire. One of them did call out that his engine had quit on him really early in that engagement, so he probably had to ditch in the channel. Not sure about the second guy. But hey, for once they didn't kill themselves on landing, so that's a plus. Let's see. Free hunt. This is in the 109. Which we've established I'm not good at. You know what? Let's do this. Even though I don't know how to fly this thing, let's do this. I just want to see if I get shot down. It might be interesting as well to see from the bomber's perspective what it's like to be harassed by Spitfires and Hurricanes. There it is, London straight ahead. Destroy the London docks and return to base. Watch out for enemy fighters. Oh boy. Flying right into London. Put some weathering on the aircraft. The weathering is randomized between aircraft, by the way, as they spawn in, so that's pretty neat. Different aircraft in the squadron will have different amounts of wear on them. Wonder if you can put custom nose art in this game. Probably can. I'll have to find out how. Yeah, there we go. We only got the 1 paint scheme to go with. Let's give ourselves a serial number. I don't even know if it displays on this thing. Just a oh, it does, right on the tail there. You can't really see it at this angle. Just a random number, but adds to it right there. Catch you later, CJ. Thanks for stopping by, man. hope you enjoyed the stream. When I get my DCS working again, we'll have to fly together. If I get it working again at this rate. Okay. Let's fly. I just heard the word Spitfire. That does not fill me with confidence. Oh, there they are. I may have killed the engines before I even started flying. Oops. Oops. What have I done? Is it the prop pitch? Is that it? I think it might have been. Let's just restart this. That never happened. To be fair, I have no idea how to fly this thing. There we go, that sounds a bit healthier. There they go. Unfortunately, my gunner's body isn't animated, just his head, which is a bit weird. I have no idea how to use the bomb sight in this thing. Or indeed how to select and arm bombs. So yeah, elevator trim. That's the actual bomb site there. Pretty sure. Yeah, it is. Bomb arming is that panel on the left? It probably is. I saw something clickable. Oh, that's fuel cocks. Okay. Yeah, that is definitely something to do with the bombs. I'm just going to assume they're already armed. I'm not entirely sure what our specific target is, other than the London docks in general. Oh, I see ships down there. That's probably what we're supposed to be bombing. We're probably just going for a dive bombing attack. I can't remember what the binding is for the dive brakes though, so that could be a slight issue. Let's look that up real quick, because that's going to be important here. Controls, aircraft, dive brakes. Okay, bomb bay doors is Control B. Dive brakes. Hello. Okay, we got different sight controls here. Toggle bombs armed is Control W. I can't find it. I'm pretty... Oh, here we go. No, those are wheel brakes. Air brake. There we go. Toggle air brake. Joystick key 15. Oh shit, which one's that? I have no idea which button that is. I'll just use the same thing I use for air brakes in DCS. So we'll go with that, and then retract with that. There we go. See, I don't remember the names for those, remember? Oops. Oh shit, it might have just lost focus on the window. Can you still see the cockpit? I think I may have broken it. So I should be paused and looking around. Okay, thank God. Control W. I'm gonna hope they're armed. I don't know. Oh, my gun is shooting something, which is not a good sign. Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. Daddy, please. Not me. Surprisingly, there's quite severe head limitations. For this, I can't look behind me at all. What game is this? This is IL-2 Cliffs of Dover. I couldn't change the category without breaking the OBS hook. It's very difficult to stream this. So, unfortunately, I couldn't set it to the right category. Oh wow, is that an automated dive bombing system? What on earth is going on there? I think it is. Do I still have bombs on me? I don't know. Oh, my brakes are still out? Really? I guess they take a while to retract. Looks like my bombs are gone, though. I don't think I hit anything. My gun sight's flickering, the electrics aren't doing very well. Where's the rest of the formation gone? Oh, they're over there. No, please.
Achtung! Feindlicher Kampfverband! Landbereich, Meter. 5. Höhe auf Hallo. Hallo, 30.000. Meter. Achtung! Feindlicher Kampfverband! Landquadrat, Meter. 5. Höhe auf Hallo. Hallo, 2500 Meter.
Doesn't sound real great. Temperatures and pressures don't look too bad, at least. It must be real great when you're trying to fly the plane and the fucking bombardier slash nose gunner here is waving this machine gun in your face. That must be brilliant. I know that the design philosophy behind the Germans putting the crew in a big clusterfuck like this was to improve morale, but two things. First of all, they get in each other's way. Three things, actually. Second of all, it makes the defensive fire arcs for the bomber really shitty. And third of all, if old mate here gets hit and his brains spray all across my front, it's not going to help my morale, oddly enough. You know what, actually? It's a really stupid idea, considering we're in a German aircraft and we've already taken some battle damage, but I'm really curious. I want to go overfly Red Sands and see if it's modelled in the game. Oh look, there's an RAF fighter base. Yikes. There's one of our bombers up there. Yeah, it does, but I mean, like you can see, this dude is getting in my way with this thing waving around. And it's also kind of cramped. I don't know, and like one good burst into the front of this aircraft will kill almost the entire crew. That's the thing. Like, it just seems like asking for trouble to me. And apparently a lot of the more experienced RAF pilots very quickly learned to make head-on attacks against German bombers because they could knock out the entire crew in one pass. Especially against the HE-111. Okay, so I'm not actually sure how far off the coast Red Sands was. well, it's still there. I know it's in the estuary and it's a couple miles offshore. So, from memory, right actually around this area was one of the major British proving grounds of the war, which was during the Cold War turned into an American over-the-horizon radar station. It's still there. Most of the radar masts are gone. There's a couple still there that are used for radio rebroadcasting and things like that. What was the name of it? Cobra Mist, I think it is. And it's roughly over there somewhere-ish. Another RAF base over there, about my 1 o'clock, I believe. You can just kind of see a green patch there out of that front window. That's a fighter base. So we're looking out for a cluster of metal towers in the middle of the Thames estuary. I don't know if they're in game though, and I'm not entirely sure how far out they are, if they are in game. The visibility isn't actually that great out the front of this thing. Temperatures look okay. Pressures seem okay. I think we're good. We are trailing something, I think oil. Or it might be fuel actually. How much fuel we got? Where's the fuel? Oh. Reserve. We might be ditching in the channel. Just saying. Or making a forced landing in Kent. Well, it's not that, it's that I had a fuel leak. I'm still leaking fuel, it looks like. I don't know how to switch off the transfer from that tank. Still no sign of red sands. I don't know if it's in-game, to be honest. It might be, it might not be. I just wanted to see if I could check it out, because it's a pretty cool site. Probably be about in our 10 o'clock if it is out here. I think we would have passed it by now. Oh, actually, no. I don't think Red Sands was built yet. I think it was built, like, midway through the war. So, yeah, I guess it's historically correct that it wouldn't be here, which is a shame, because I'd really like to go look at it. Yeah, we are really not doing well on fuel. Oh, I have the fuel cocks over here, don't I? I just don't know which tank is leaking. What do you think? Got little curtains here. Can't use them though. We might actually maybe have enough to get to France. Maybe. In which case I'm an idiot because I just turned back over the English coast into one of the more heavily defended areas of it too. Oops. Lorentz blind landing system. This was something the British jammed. The Brits actually jammed a lot of German autopilot and navigation radio signals. Ooh, this is probably not what I want. This is attempting to fly me into the ground. This is definitely not what I want. Don't you look at me like that. You think you could do a better job? I mean, you can fly this if you really want to. Go right ahead. No, I didn't think so. Just me having an altercation with my navigator slash bombardier here. And the autopilot trying to crash me into the ground because I decided to see if it was working. You know, the usual. I might actually make this the last flight for the stream. I need some food. And then next time I stream, I will hopefully be doing some Battle of Stalingrad. Hopefully. Yeah, I don't know what I was panicking about the fuel for, we're fine. Flying like a drunk again. Stream the Hornet later? Cool. I might catch you then, or I might fall asleep, I don't know at this point. I have not been sleeping very well over the past few days, so I'm a bit all over the place at the moment. Oh, that's what VODs are for. You might miss out on Kraken getting weird champed, though. I don't know if Brandon will be too impressed with him. Oh, he left the server for a joke, but in doing so lost all his user groups, including his VIP, so he's probably going to need that back now. Which just means more work for the mods. I mean, it's all in good fun. Probably everyone will just see it as a bit of a giggle, but I'd imagine he might cop a weird champ for it. Yeah, that's true. I definitely find that if I'm trying to catch up on a stream I've missed, I tend to watch it in chunks, like maybe a half-hour block a day or something, instead of actually catching up in one go, just because you aren't there and you can't meme with chat and so on. Oh my god, this thing is so slow. There we go, there's the French coast. Let's just turn in towards the first bit of French coast we see, to be honest. The other thing is, I actually kind of suspect we still have a bomb stuck in there. So I'm going to open up the bomb bay, and I'm going to use the old cheetah vision to have a look inside. If the bomb bay decides it wants to open, which it might not. There we go. And my head position's almost... Oh, we do indeed. Oh, look at all those bombs we could have dropped. Oh well. If the squadron commander asks, we drop those on English shipping in the Thames, yeah? Can I get some more speed out of this without blowing the engines up? Let's find out. Okay, well, nothing bad has happened yet. Now I have to not only find an airfield, but find one that this thing will fit on. I'm not entirely sure where the closest will be. Good timing on needing to go get food though, because my hand's starting to cramp up as well. I'm having to hold the stick over to one side because there's, as far as I know, actually there might be roll trim on this actually. Can't see any trim tabs though. Yeah, I'm trying to fight the tendency to roll to the right here, so I've got to hold the stick over a bit. Here's the French coast. That looks like an airfield right over there. Pretty sure that is an airfield right over there. Don't know if it's big enough though. Yeah, we might get away with it.
Отказ систем. Смотри экран.
Hey Isaac, thanks for the follow. Any ideas who... No, I haven't got a clue. But it sounds like it's probably for the best. This is probably going to be a really messy landing. Is my gear actually down? Where the fuck are the gear lamps? How do I tell? The gear is not down. Oh wait, yes it is. Wow, that sounded very unpleasant. Is it collapsed on one side? Oh. Oh, jeez. It nearly was. Ah, the tires are burst. Yikes. That would explain a few things. Right, I will attempt to get off the runway with my burst tires. This isn't going so well. We are still leaking fuel out of that wing. I've got the engines absolutely firewalled, by the way, and we are not going anywhere. She really digs in with the tires gone. We off the runway yet? Close enough. Close enough. How do I kill the engines? Oh, like so, probably. There we go. And turn all the fuel cocks off. Okay. I think we're good. There's the cutout button for the engines there. That really doesn't sound good. And it looks like the engines have overheated, interestingly enough. Oh well, that about does me for this stream. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Probably doing some IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad next stream, hopefully. I would like to squeeze some more Cliffs of Dover in sometime as well, but, I mean, like I said earlier, it's a real pain to get it to actually work, so it's kind of, if I have time to do it, and I'm in a good mood. But yeah. I will catch you all later, and for now, I will pass you on to someone else. So let's have a look who's on. Oh, that's right, CJ's streaming. Well, I will send you all on over to CJ. One moment here. Alrighty, there we go. So I'll go say hi to CJ, who's playing Portal, and I'll catch you guys probably later today, my time, or tomorrow morning.